Such a good question. I feel like we live in a world of becoming. We live in a world that when we are in kindergarten, we're thinking about middle school. When we're in middle school, we're thinking about high school, then high school, then college, the workforce, married life, kids, and the cycle continues and it keeps going. Yeah. And it feels like we're kind of just checking off this life experience.
Yeah. Welcome to Lali La Luna TV. I'm Jazmin, Kylene, and this is the Tea On, where we sip tea and we talk about things. Keep it simple. And I always say, like I said, that I'm excited about what I'm going to talk about. But today I am genuinely so excited to talk about what we're going to talk about because it, first of all, derived from like an organic conversation between you and I, and we found something in common that I feel like a lot of people can relate to, but we don't like actually speak about it. So we're gonna have that conversation. But first and foremost, I want to introduce my beautiful guest, Miss Hannah Joy Weiser, which Joy's your middle name, and it's like kind of weird that I'm saying your whole government name, but I feel like your middle name just embodies who you are and like the light that you bring in any room that you're in. So Hannah Joy Weiser is who we're with today. And I just want you to introduce yourself because you are just so incredibly talented. It's insane.
What an intro. I am so grateful to be in your presence, to sip tea with you, and to see you shine, because you're incredible.
Thank you so much.
I'm Hannah, and I'm 18 years old, and I'm one of the founders of Womanze, which is a free app that is completely centered around self-empowerment for women. And we always say that it's like your toolbox for life, because it shares tools for everything that we experience as human beings. It's here to help us navigate the ups and downs of life. So whether it's self-love, body image, mental health, relationships, it's there for us. And I started it with my sisters and my mom, which you know, and it's been the joy of my lifetime.
Absolutely, yeah, and so your purpose too. Like you're so deeply just making such a huge difference, and like those little like affirmations that girls would get on their phones. Yeah, I think you realize like what that does to the mind to just like I don't know, feel connected in that second and feel seen. And you're also an actress who is like incredibly talented, and I'm like so excited. The exciting things that you've already done, just to see like where your career is going from here. Just get used to her face, is all I'm gonna say. But yeah, anything you wanna say about just being an actress?
I love storytelling. I love the fact that movies make us feel less alone in the world, and TV shows us who we are and what we're made of. And I think that I'm excited to be alive in a time that so many important stories are being told, and that we get to celebrate being a human and all that it entails together.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's such a funny thing that you say because I'm not an actress, but I wish I was solely to be part of like this time in like movie and filmmaking, because you're so right. A lot of really important stories are being told. We're going to tell a story today about ourselves because what we're going to talk about, usually I have statistics to sort of like break in the topic, but there's not really a lot of statistics available for this, but I do have just a thing written down saying growing old is optional, which is something that you told me that you saw after we had our conversation. And it's sort of just, it's surrounding the subject of we both feel very connected to our child selves, and we've also both experienced sort of having to find the balance between embracing being women who are blossoming and like this 11-year-old in me that like just wants to like wear fuzzy socks and eat cereal, you know what I mean? And it just is what it is. And I also have written down that as a kid, I think we were very eager to grow up. And now I find myself not grown up, but older and kind of eager to be a kid again. So I think that just kind of prefaces it.
Definitely.
At all. Yeah.
Definitely.
Perfect. So let's get into the questions, right? Yeah. And usually like interviews are just sort of like, I like say, but I'm going to actually participate in this because
Please do.
Yeah, I have a lot to say. Okay, so the first question I want us to touch on, let's see. Well, I think we can sort of maybe talk about what I think could be a root of it, which is why do you think that society pushes this narrative of us to grow up quickly? Because I think it's sort of, I think it's played an underlying role in just, I don't know, my own development of feeling like I needed to grow up quickly.
Such a good question. Such a good question. I feel like we live in a world of becoming. We live in a world that when we are in kindergarten, we're thinking about middle school. When we're in middle school, we're thinking about high school, then high school, then college, the workforce, married life, kids, and the cycle continues and it keeps going.
Yeah.
And it feels like we're kind of just checking off this life experience. Because we think that maybe, just maybe, when we get to this place or that place, we'll be okay.
Right.
So I think this idea of growing up comes from, we derive our identity in our accomplishments and what we do. So we miss so much of the in-between of the little things about who we are. Our favorite color and who our friends are and what we believe in. We miss knowing who we are behind our accomplishments and behind what we show the world.
Absolutely.
And I think we get so caught up in growing up that we forget that we're living right now.
Right.
And part of this chapter for me, and I know for you, is just saying there's a life that this 18-year-old version of me gets to live, and it's beautiful. And every version of me that I've ever been and every version of me that I ever will be deserves the same love and attention that I should give myself right now.
Right. Oh my gosh. I could not have said that better myself, 100%. And I think it's such an interesting thing that you bring up about, like, I feel like we almost not place our value, but we measure, I think we measure ourselves by, like, where we're at and which check we're checking at that moment. And I think that is where it stems from, like, figuring out who you are in that very moment, because it's an active thing to sort of undo identifying your career or your student status or wherever you are as like it being your identity, and it's not, you know what I mean? So
For sure.
I love that you brought that up. That's like insane, because it's something that you actively have to keep up. Like, I am not my career, it's something that is part of me, you know what I mean? Wow. Tea. So how do you express your inner child in your day-to-day? Do you find yourself like actively, I don't know, woven her into you?
I love that visual.
I don't even know where that came from. Who was she?
I think right now it's letting myself dream big, because when I look at who I was when I was 11 or 14, I was fully me. And I had so many dreams about who I could be without knowing the limitations of the world, without thinking that I wasn't good enough or feeling like maybe my dreams were too big or that I was taking up too much space or that other people were doing it and doing it better. I didn't know that. I just knew there's a dream that's been placed on my heart, and you know what? I'm gonna do it. And I think there's a spirit of me that's living within me that's just like, maybe it's a whisper. It's like, maybe I could do that. And over time, the whisper grows louder and louder when you don't listen to it. And I think as an 11-year-old, I just knew that I, just like every single one of us, came here for a purpose. Yeah. And I'm gonna dream as big as I possibly can and live as much as I possibly can, because that's the beauty of being a kid. And so I think how I weave that piece of me into who I am now is by giving myself permission. Just a permission slip to dream and to be and to live without limitation.
100. And it's so insane how it's so effortless to be fearless when you're a kid.
Why is that?
Why is that? Because now it's like it takes so much effort from me to like sort of quiet my own anxieties. And what is it about? I genuinely would love to know. I mean, I guess it's just also you're not as consumed with comparing yourself to where others are when you're a kid. I think you're just kind of like standing in you and you're fine in that. But yeah, I would definitely, well, I don't remember what the question was. Is it, how do you express it? Yeah, okay, so I think I'm stepping more into being fearless. Actually, today I was meditating on that because anxiety started to come up, and it's like, these are man-made. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like you have the same amount of power that you do as a kid when you're older, but you're more, I don't know, you have the reins of it when you're a kid more, so.
Yeah.
Stepping into my fearlessness. Shout out to Taylor Swift. That's also the name of an album.
We love Taylor Swift.
We stand. Sorry about it. But absolutely, I agree. And also, I think that also ties into the question of what is something that you could learn from your younger self that you maybe want to implement more into you now. I'm wondering, because it has to be more than just being fearless, but that is huge for me.
Yeah. I think something that's been coming up for me is that when we're young, we aren't born hating ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We aren't born believing that we're not good enough or that we're unattractive or too skinny, too fat, too this, too that.
Mm-hmm.
We just are.
Bars.
And as we grow up, we get all these messages telling us who we should be, how to act, how to think, how to live. And so the thing that I can learn from who I am and who I was back then is how lovable I am, and how lovable each and every single one of us are before we were told that we're not. And I think that's a declaration that I have to make and a choice I have to make every day to remember that I'm so deserving of all the good things that we each are just by being here, by existing.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, you could definitely take that in from your younger self. Same. Yeah, same. I would also say, I think it was more natural for me to be present when I was a kid. I think being, and I'm 24 right now, and I think I've fallen victim to this whole like, what's next? How am I building? You know, I'm here, but I'm thinking about there, which is something that we mentioned earlier. But I think as a kid, you're not consumed by that at all.
You're just playing.
You're just playing. You're just there. You're just with your friends. You're just eating. You're just with your family. Like, you know what I mean? You're there, and also prioritizing play, and prioritizing the rest and recovery. You know what I mean? I don't think I like. Yeah. There wasn't as many check boxes to check when you're a kid.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? So yeah.
Definitely.
Next question. Is there something from your childhood that you still enjoy doing? I'm maybe acting, I would say. No?
Definitely, for sure. Creating. I feel like my sisters and I would spend our entire weekends pretending that we were in spaceships and making forts and just doing all the things that kids do. And I think I never want to grow out of that. I always want to live in this space that anything is possible and that playing is productive.
Right,
I believe that
playing is productive. Can I tattoo that on me?
Across the forehead.
Yes, like that is just, I love that you said that,
Yeah, it's in those moments of quiet that we find out what this is all about. I feel like we can learn so much from, I think of kids at Trader Joe's who are just waving at everybody. I feel like that is who I am, that is who you are. I think at our core that's who we are before we're told, oh, don't do that. You know, like that's who we are.
Curious.
We were curious and we were friendly and we were playful. So I think storytelling and playing, I loved to eat. I feel like just food. And talking to people and hearing their stories. I think that's something that I'll never grow out of.
Absolutely, and you should never.
No.
Oh my God, that's so beautiful. Same. I just keep everything you say, I'm like, same.
Me too.
And also just hobby-wise, I danced a lot when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I went to dance class like every day, and eventually I just kind of grew out of it because, I'm not grew out of it, but I kind of gave it up because it was consuming a portion of my time that I thought could be used for more productive stuff. But now I just learned that play is productive, so. But I took it up again kind of recently.
Amazing.
And it's been the most inner child healing I've ever experienced. To just be able to like step back into like, just that. And also I will go back and watch a lot of stuff that I enjoyed when I was a kid, like cartoons wise, but also just like Disney shows, and like sort of re-enjoy them. And I just can't wait to have a kid so that I can play dolls again. That's all I'm gonna say.
You need to wait.
I know, honestly. my best friend and I, we had like a moment where we were like, we miss playing with dolls, and that's just how we feel.
Yes.
And so we're gonna find our old brats and our old Mycene dolls, and we're gonna play with them. And we were like 14 at the time, which, and yeah, for like 2 weeks we like played with dolls again, and then we're just kind of like, all right,
sweet.
maybe we should stop.
I think that's where imagination comes from.
Yeah.
I think there's so many writers and storytellers and directors who remember being kids and playing, and I think that's where the love for simply sharing in that comes from.
Yeah, totally. Do you ever, and it's funny because like when I was a kid, I loved writing short stories. I would make like little books out of folders and stuff, and I would edit videos on like Windows Movie Maker of like just whatever. And it's so funny to see how that sort of eventually became like the journalistic stuff that I do now. Yeah. Do you see like things that you did just leisurely as a kid that like
100%
grew with you growing?
I feel like what we loved as kids is so representative of the people that we will one day become, and the careers that we will choose, or the things that we'll love to do. I think there's a Glennon Doyle quote about how the things that make us jealous are kind of cluing us into what we're meant to do, and I think it's true for what we love doing as kids. So the things that make us jealous and what we did as kids are just, it's like a treasure hunt, finding just a way back home.
Yes, yes.
If we didn't have to do what other people told us we had to do, or follow in the path that other people wanted us to, what would we be doing?
Right, 100%. And it's so funny because your child self is home. It really is home. The fact that you said that, it cries. I like think about my little self and I'm like, wow. But yeah, and I think anybody who's well into their career or whatever, what they're doing right now, I think if they like traced back what they did leisurely as a kid, they'll probably find
some signs,
some connection. Yeah, and that's such a beautiful thing. We evolve, we're little tadpoles. So let me see. Are there any adults who maintain their childlike spirits that you wish to embody? Which I think is cool, because I think we should have role models of older adults that are staying true to their child selves.
I love that you asked this question, because I get to highlight someone who rocks. My dad. Dad is, I think, the full representation of a human being. I go downstairs and he's washing the dishes, but he's dancing. Like, he's fully dancing with every fiber of his being. Things move him to tears out of beauty. He's everything that I aspire to be as far as feeling. Like, I feel that he really feels the beauty of this life without hesitation. And that's moving to me, and it shows me that there's beauty in everything. When something is really making him upset, he says to me, you know what, I feel grateful that I can feel it all. I feel grateful that I get the experience of being a human being, and that I can feel joy as well as pain, as well as loss, and as well as the whole gamut of emotions, because you can't have the joy without the vulnerability. And so I love that he is forever a kid. He says the worst dad jokes, and I think I definitely inherited those. And he's dancing always.
That's so beautiful. Do you know what sign he is?
He's a Taurus like me.
Oof, love that.
4 out of my 5 family members are Tauruses.
You did tell me that. And your mom is the one who's on one out, right?
Yeah, she's the Capricorn.
Tea. That's for another episode. Who was that person?
Yeah.
Well, I would definitely say my mom. My mom literally makes her toast on a Hello Kitty toaster. She's
Hello Kitty is amazing.
Queen. I'm thinking about getting a Hello Kitty phone case.
You should.
As inner child healing.
You know that when I was in 6th grade, and 6th grade is pretty old, I wore Hello Kitty high socks, and then Hello Kitty leggings, and Hello Kitty pants, and Hello Kitty shirt. It was a lot, but it was me owning who I was in that moment.
So Hello Kitty is very, very, very tied to my child self. I think there's some symbols, that you can kind of connect with, and I had Hello Kitty everything. I had a Hello Kitty phone, it was just everything. And so now that I'm sort of re-embracing my child self, I'm trying to that's why I was I want a Hello Kitty phone case because I love her.
I support you.
And so thank you, honestly, because I'm on Amazon right now. But my mom is the reason why. She was a huge Hello Kitty fan. She still is. And she just is she's so free in her own self, and she just doesn't judge herself in any way. And she just is a grown woman who is she's literally a big kid, and we have a mother-daughter relationship, but also there's something very sisterly and best friend about us because of it. So I would say her for sure. And also I want to highlight Tracy Ellis Ross because there's
end of sentence.
Just the interview cuts because that's it. But genuinely, I feel there's a few women in media that I want to sort of take pieces of for who I want to embody when I'm older. I think Alicia Keys is another one too, and Ellen. But there's something about Tracy Ellis Ross that is so near and dear to my heart, in that she's so single and so proud of being single, and I love that. But she is such a kid still, she's so free, and she has such a childlike spirit that I want to also embody when I'm an adult. Because I'm not an adult right now. I just want to throw that out there, obviously.
Growing old is optional.
I want to reiterate that it is. And honestly, we should talk about that because I think that's such a profound short sentence, but it really, like, growing old really is optional. You can always be who you want to be at any point in time in your life, right? Like, that's just it. And you saw that for a nursing home, right?
I did.
That's so
I was
funny.
in that exact moment. I was thinking about how there's definitely a childlike spirit and an old soul living within me, and the balance of the two is always very funny. And I was thinking about our conversation about this exact thing, and then I look right ahead of me, and on a truck is growing old is optional.
The signs and the synchronicities, people. It's insane. Now, something that I did want to mention is the public definition of femininity maybe being a bit why people tend to stifle their younger selves. And the reason why I just wanted to mention this was because I think that a lot of times we mold ourselves to what we feel as though society is sort of glorifying to be whatever mold you're meant to step into. And I think women are shown to be caretakers, or they're shown to be, you know, whatever narrative is fitting what wants to be pushed at that time. And I think that we're taught to be strong, or we're taught to be all these things that we can be and that parts of us are, but I think it's important to note that we're so multifaceted and we're so layered. And yeah, I just don't think that you should let any sort of stereotype or any mold sort of lead you to stifle a part of you that feels very part of you. I think that I have always been such a kid. And like, I go on Instagram and I don't necessarily see that too much. And I think it's made me sort of retract it a bit when, I don't know, I think if we live in our own truths, people will also
100%.
feel comfortable to live in their truths. So
Definitely.
yeah. And let me see, last question. There's so many, honestly. Oh, are there areas in your life where you think you should embrace being more womanly, and also areas in your life where you feel like you should embrace being more childlike? Deep one, y'all.
I feel like womanhood is power. I feel like women are just innately, unbelievably, incredibly powerful, and there's a strength to us that I feel we should own with every fiber of our beings, whether it's just knowing, just that knowing that we are part of something so much greater than us, and that we are strong. And I think I can bring that into my life, whether it be in my career, when I walk into a room knowing that I belong in every room that I enter, or in my relationships knowing my worth and knowing the type of people that I want to be surrounded by. And then on the other end of that is that childlike, beautiful spirit of play, and embracing play into every single thing that we do. And I think it's the delicate balance of the two that makes for a full, beautiful human life.
Absolutely. It's the balance of the two, really, yeah. And that's what this whole thing is about, is figuring out how to balance it. I think it's crazy because every area that comes to mind, I think I could use both of the energies.
Definitely.
I think career-wise, I could definitely embrace the power that being a woman is, and not being apologetic when I want things changed or when I want things done a certain way. But I can also embrace play and rest, and not being defined by work and status and all of that good stuff. So it's a balance. It's a work, and it's a progress, and we are always a work in progress. And
For sure.
If anything is consistent, it's change. And so,
can we just acknowledge how many times I've gone, just everything you said?
I just want to snap every time you say anything. But yeah, honestly, it really is something that we need to be okay with, is knowing that we're always gonna be in some sort of cycle, and that's okay. But making the effort to find balance in a lot of areas in your life. But I think it's really important to find the balance between adulting and being the kids that we are to our cores. So, any last thoughts on the subject? Anything that you want to trickle in?
I want to acknowledge you and just say that it is a joy to know you and to learn from you.
I feel the same exact way about you.
For anyone who's watching at home, just know that this version of you is perfectly and perfectly worthy and enough. And I think just like a relationship with a significant other, you remember your first date, or the first time they met your parents, all these significant moments, we can look back on our relationship with ourselves and all of these momentous, beautiful moments with love and compassion and forgiveness, and look to the future with a lot of hope and a lot of excitement. Absolutely,
yeah. And just like what you said in the most succinct way, you are enough, you know? Be in your most authentic self, and you'll just, I don't know, I feel like that's when you'll find your purpose. I want to acknowledge you because you are an angel on earth and you are so within your purpose. I mean, it's insane. Anything coming up that you want to shout out? Anything exciting? I know you guys are in a competition right now. I don't know if this will air before it's over, but anything you want to shout out with Womanze or?
We are on a mission to get Womanze into the hands of as many people as possible.
Yes.
So you can download Womanze for free on the App Store or Google Play, and if you turn on your notifications, you'll get a daily message from our hearts to yours, just letting you know that you're loved and supported. I think we need more hope than ever.
Yeah.
So my hope every night that I go to sleep is just that it's impacting exactly who it needs to impact.
Yeah, and it is, 100%, and it'll only impact more, so go off, queen. Thank you for being you, and thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.